Hello, dear friends. Here we are. Yes, this is your thought, your life. 30 days of inner journey, and here we are. This is day 5. Yes, it is. Because we're studying the book, Thought is Life. Thought is Life is a book by the spirit author Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, the Brazilian spiritist medium. This book is all about the synopsis of guidelines for life. This book was actually brought to us as, I would say, modern words, like a download from the spiritual realm, used in the schools of regeneration, preparing people to reincarnate and more certainly fulfill their reincarnatory plan. And it's good for us to go through this book. It was recently, 2012, published in English version by Roundtable Publishing. Now it's at the copyright of the British Union of Spiritist Societies. But to make it easy for you, if you want to access the book, go to the Spiritist Group of New York's website, sgny.org, and order your copy there. That's the easiest access for you to the hard copy of the book. Okay, just for now. There are kind people who are taking care of the issue and trying to make it easier. So this is a must that we need to have at hand. And before we begin, let's say hello to our community. Hello, Jussara, and hello, Adilson and Sunshine. Friends, let us recall. Emmanuel says that the foundation of life is our thoughts. When you were born, who told you something of the nature? Maybe nobody. Were you ever taught in school that you are building your life as you think? No. Nowhere. And here we are. The non-traditional schools of life teaching us the whole 9 yards of life. We need to know that as we're thinking, we're building. As we are connecting with our minds and feelings, we're making associations. Our mind is the mirror of our lives. As we create thoughts, these mental connections, these mental reflexes are going to open doorways for feelings, and feelings to ideas and attitude and etc. We can't allow people to grow older to actually learn that what they think is creating their life. We need to teach our children from the get-go. And how do you teach it? It varies, but we need to teach them as they experience it, like us. Observe. Let us observe ourselves. When you're thinking something positive, observe how you feel and observe how things turn around. You know, when you are working in the kitchen and suddenly you're thinking about something and you drop a glass and it breaks apart. Observe what kinds of thoughts and feelings you are having when accidents like this happen. They were not happy. Usually, there was quite a bit of anger there. Observe the associations of thought patterns and events in our lives. And we'll see that it doesn't take much to actually make connections. And these connections, we start receiving what we're emitting, entering mental currents, and through those mental currents, we're changing our lives. Let's not forget that this is a therapeutic journey. We're not here to go into, whenever you read a book, you have an opportunity to analyze it in a million ways. Mentor Joseph advised us to go through this book to absorb therapeutic tools, not only to console ourselves, but also to instrument ourselves to live a better life, not only are better for this time being on the earth, but for immortality. Our goal is immortality. If I put my goal as immortality, that's my millennial goal, I'll never go wrong. But if I instead put a temporary goal as my priority, I may not reach the millennial goals. Let's talk about passing goals in life and millennial ones. Which ones do you often think about? Which ones do you often cherish? What are your millennial goals? Do you have millennial goals? They have nothing to do with what is happening right now. Nothing. I mean, nothing in the sense of like our goals now are different from the millennial goals. They must be. It's not about a passing title, a passing acquisition, materially speaking, not even like having children and family. These are means for millennial goals, but they are not millennial goals. To have this family as my millennial family, because we're supposed to expand our family ties and not keep them restricted to a few elements or a few members, right? Yes, hello Rihanna and Luis and Solange. Thank you, friends. God bless all of us here. Let us cherish this. Hello, Sol. Friends, let me share with you that this chapter is about education. Chapter 5. Emmanuel very kindly invites us to a new understanding. So let's see what it is. He's going to tell us quite clearly here, and I'm just opening. Okay. There you go. Education. Christ, that's how he begins. Christ said, "Let your light shine." And it is he, the Divine Master, who is our sublime guiding light in the evolution of the planet, of this planet. Friends, look at this. People used to believe that the Lord's advice was only a mystical call, urging superficial worshippers within orthodoxy to believe in a supposed individual prominence to be acquired after death, upon entering an imaginary celestial court. However, today we recognize that Jesus' lesson should be applied in all situations of everyday life. Nowadays, earthly science recognizes the presence of light in all places. A deeper study of the human body has revealed that it is more a vehicle of energy than it is a state of matter. A compound infinitesimal particles reciprocally attracting and repulsing each other, causing microscopic explosions of light. Chemistry, physics, and astronomy have demonstrated that terrestrial man lives and moves amidst a realm that is crisscrossed by rays. In this glorious domain of energy, we have our mental radiations conditioning the elements through which life is expressed. Thought is a creative force projected by the person who generates it by means of subtle waves in circuits of action and reaction. This is measurable as the photon which, on receiving impulse through the luminous system it produces, travels through space at a predetermined speed, thus sustaining the glowing breath of creation. Again, we say the human mind is a mirror of light, which projects and assimilates rays. However, this mirror is more or less a prisoner of the thick shadows of ignorance, just a before excavation a precious stone is encrusted by subterranean sediments. In order to be able to give off celestial irradiations and project its own brightness, it is indispensable to cast off this layer of darkness through a process of perfectioning and enlightenment. Hence, the real need of education for everyone. Let us also remember the words of the eternal benefactor when he said, "Let your light shine," meaning that the potential of light in your spirit should shine to its fullness. Such a state can only be reached through the kind of education that will offer the required improvement. But education that refines the intellect and improves humankind's inner world in knowledge and goodness, wisdom and virtue is not achieved merely by instruction from the outside. Rather, it must have the conscious consent of the will. When the will dedicates itself freely and spontaneously to goodness, without any constraints, it can liberate and refine the heart, imprinting on it a crystal clear image of the soul. The soul is then able to reflect the glorious life, subsequently transforming the mind into a precious powerhouse of superior energy, projecting reflexes of beauty and sublimation. Breathe in and out now, dear friends. Just so we start processing it, right? Woo, that's a lot. Thank you, Emmanuel. Hello, Felicia. Good morning to you. Hello, Melissa and Felipe, Fátima, Tânia, Clara, Simões. Ooh la la, right, Melissa? Ouch. So let us sing to relax the muscles. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now we're ready, right? Yes. We're gonna let it shine right here, right now. Let us let it shine. The way Emmanuel writes this book is educational in itself. If we could analyze his educational style, it's quite unique. Quite unique. Because the order of the thoughts he outlined is like a thesis. He is showing to us why it is important to educate ourselves. But since this is a spiritist book, it contains the universality of the spiritist teachings. It is studied in the schools of regeneration, and we are now being granted the opportunity to be reminded of it here while we are incarnated. The question to us is, what is the definition of education? We can't forget about it. What is the definition? Talking about education, here's Carol and Mark. Carol and Mark with us, educators, loving educators, yes. So, education, according to the Spirit book by Allan Kardec, when we study, funny enough, when we study the law of work, we learn in Spiritism that work is any useful occupation. So right now, is this useful? Yes, so it means we're working. No, but it's not that bad. Because some people, when they think it's work, like it turns them down. No. It's this beautiful work. It's the work that is almost like fun, or it is fun. It can be fun, right? Because we feel useful. And as Kardec is bringing to us more and more the understanding about evolution in the laws of life, in the third part of the Spirit book, we learn that education is not simply the education of the intellect, but the education of our moral disposition. And when we say moral, it's about the millennial moral. It's not about this now, this temporary part of us. It's about this millennial experience. Things we are going to acquire that are going to improve ourselves and go forever. So he begins clearly by saying, since Jesus is our guiding model, he refers to the Christ. He said, let your light shine. And he is our guiding, the sublime guiding light of our evolution in this planet. Pause. Therapeutic moment. If he's our guiding light, when you're lost, when you're feeling lost and distraught, who do you refer to? Because some people, they look at their neighbors and they're like, oh, but my neighbors, they have a much easier life. My friends. And we always think that people in our lives, they are better references. But the reference of all references is Jesus. Look at Jesus. He never demanded on anything and anyone. What an easy person to be with, right? We've never heard of him making a list of, demands saying, Peter, I'll come to your house if and only if you pay me $60,000 and you allow me to bring my entourage and you have bodyguards and I am in your VIP room and you allow me and I need to eat chocolate every day. And, he wouldn't be who he was because none of this was at their disposal at the time, right? Exactly. So here we have a guiding light teaching us simplicity. Simplicity. How am I going to do this? As simple as this. I know friends, even in Spiritism, that nowadays they complicate so much. They want to share teachings like this and they're like, no, but I need a fancy camera. And I need somebody who is really masterful to do the things. But God is so wise that he inspired Mark Zuckerberg and said, make it available to everyone. You don't need anything. You just need one apparatus and you push a button and you talk to people. Simple. Simple as when Zuckerberg does it himself. He doesn't complicate either. And the master of all masters didn't complicate, so much so that he came at a time that was completely uncomplicated in this regard. So we don't need to complicate. Right, friends? Yes. Hello, Rita Di Cassia and Nelson. So, people used to believe that the Lord's advice was only a mystical call, but people still feel like this. They still feel like this. That what he's calling is somebody else, not us. The bar's too high. And we are only going to feel joy when we bring the teaching and say, Jesus is so tangible that I can feel him here and now. For millennia, since he came, many people try to convince us that this relationship between each one of us and Jesus can only be done through other people. And you know why they did this, right? To manipulate us. Saying, you need me to talk to Jesus. So you need to pay me so I can talk to Jesus for you. Or, not because of money, but because of ego, feeling like I'm better. But we Spiritists, we cut the middleman. I don't need to talk to Divaldo Franco to talk to Jesus. Of course, he may have a stronger connection. We're not disputing it. But that's not about it. We finally need this 101 with the Master. One of the most important things is he empowered each and every one of us, all of us. You don't need me to talk to Jesus and God. You don't need anybody but yourself in your heart. No wonder he said, let your light shine. And he didn't say, but only you and only you, but not you. He said, all of you, let your light shine. Everyone. And we cannot repeat the mistakes we did in the past when we were in the church, in previous lives, when we were manipulating people, making them feel less empowered, making them believe that they didn't have a direct connection with God and or Jesus. Right now, Emmanuel is saying, enough is enough, and now that's why we need to educate ourselves. Your light can shine depending on your effort to educate yourself, and the same for me. And he says, today we recognize, we Spiritists, recognize the lesson of Jesus that we should apply in all situations of everyday life. But do we really? Or do we make an exception? You say, I'm going to apply this. But now, Vanessa, come on. Can we talk a little bit bad about this person? Just a little bit. Forget about these teachings now. It's not going to hurt if we talk a little bit bad about somebody. Right? Yes. Right? Yes. We need to apply it in all situations. Emmanuel is so kind that he trusts that we already are there. We, the ones who know about these teachings. But do we? You want a scale 0 to 10? Why not? We need to assess these inner assessments to feel it. So where are we? 0 to 10. 0 to 10. 0 being like, I don't apply at all in all situations of my everyday life. And 10 being, I apply the teachings of Jesus in all situations of my life every day. 0, 0, and 10. Where are you today? Think about this. Let me think about myself too. Where am I? Okay, there is room for improvement. So let's keep working on it, right? Let's keep working on it. There's room for improvement, but we recognize that we should apply. That is a sure thing. Now he's going to discuss about light. He talks about light. Remember, look at the mastery of his light, of his teachings. I can see Mentor Joseph says that one day on the earth, we'll have courses for people not only know how to write Spiritism, but to evaluate the literacy of these teachings, the way they were written, because it's so masterful. These books were written in such a masterful way that it's, when we start analyzing, it's phenomenal in itself. He titles it Education. He begins talking about light. He talks about light throughout the whole chapter. And when he ends it, we're going to get there. He ends it by talking about light, radiation, energy, reflections of beauty and sublimation. Let your light shine. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Number 7, Rita. Good job. Hello, Liz Delia. Your mom is in our hearts. I'm so glad I saw her in Puerto Rico recently. And I know she did a great job on the earth. She graduated, and we're celebrating because she made it. She graduated, right? Hello, João Bosco. Friends, observe, he's associating education with acquisition of light. Education with acquisition of light. Education and light. Education and light. And as Tony is saying, let's shine higher and stronger and brighter. Yes, so here he says, in this middle part of the chapters are short. They seem very condensed, but they're short. He says, nowadays earthly life recognizes the presence of light. It's interesting, the poetic way in which he phrases it. He says the paragraph before, we recognize Jesus' lesson should be applied everywhere. And then he writes that earthly science recognizes the presence of light in all places. You see what he's telling us, right? You see what's happening here? The combination, he's pairing up Jesus, the guiding light, as he said in the first phrase, and the fact now that materially speaking, as science evolves, we're recognizing the presence of light all around. Okay? Let us observe the association he's making purposefully, both in the psychological aspect, but also in the physical aspect of it all. Yes, Lidelia, I know you are. Thanks to Spiritism, right? We feel at peace when our loved ones graduate. Yes, you're an inspiration for us. A deeper study of the human body has revealed that it's more a vehicle of energy. But do you feel your body more as energy than solid matter? When you go through a disease, do you know that that is temporary? You know, I remember a wise physician telling me once, very spiritual, he became acquainted with Spiritism in Baltimore. He's a homeopathic doctor, and he said, Vanessa, I don't sometimes ask my patients to do much of these annual checkups because our bodies, because they are very plastic, they are moldable, they change. Today, he said, you may form a tumor, and then tomorrow may be gone. Of course, it's important to do, he said, exams when we feel that something is going on. But to keep digging just for the sake of digging, we're going to face things that probably are just there, and they are not a big deal. It comes and goes. And he only said that, and he's renowned in his practice of medicine, because he understands that we are more than the physical body. He knows that the physical body is a manifestation of part of us, not the whole part of us. And we need to learn how to look at this body as something beyond the solidity of itself. Knowing that it's so plastic, it can change. And it changes according to our thoughts and feelings. Remember an exercise we did probably a while ago, I don't remember when, but you put your hand here on your chest, you can do it now, and if you repeat some words like saying, let's repeat this word and you feel it, let your light shine, let your light shine, or saying, yes, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Did you feel the vibrations? Now, think about the 70 to 75% or more of water in your body. And you're feeling the vibrations. And you're setting a pattern that is going to create disease or health. Right, friends? Thank you, friends. Feels good, doesn't it? Is that the reason why we need to learn how to speak well? Think well, speak well, feel well, and act well towards goodness. One more time. But if you do the exercise, feeling your vibration, feel it. Do you feel the vibration? Just the verse. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Did you feel it? Now imagine, as Masaru Emoto, the Japanese researcher who discarnated, I had the opportunity to meet with him personally, and true missionary. And he shows to us something that Spiritism also vouches for, the fact that as we think and as we feel, as we say and we do, we're imprinting vibratory patterns to the molecules of the water in our body, and thus creating either health or disease, wellness or this state of sickness, right? So we really need to pay attention to it. Right, Melissa? Did you feel? You felt Carol Correa is telling me here through text. She felt it, right, Carol? It's powerful. As we speak, shh, it's unbelievable. The need of wisdom to think and to feel and to say and to do. Now, he says here, our body a compound of infinitesimal particles, attracting and repulsing each other, causing microscopic explosions of light. Every paragraph he's referring to the light, energy, light, and light, and light. And he wants to talk about education. And we are asking, Manuel, where is education here? Wait up. He's getting there. He's developing the thesis. The spirits, in Spiritism, we do not say, this is how it is, period. We've developed the logics, the rationale. Faith is never blind. It is reasoned. When you read these chapters, it's a living proof that we Spiritists are students of a reasoned faith. These books are the living proof that we're students of a reasoned faith, not a blind faith. These books are never telling us, this is how it is, period. No. They develop the thesis, the logics of it all. And then we understand. And because we understand, not that we believe, we know it. It's a certainty. It's stamped in our minds. And he says, chemistry, physics, and astronomy. You see, three major fields of sciences demonstrated that we, the human beings, live and move around crisscross rays. And we know all the different types of waves that exist. And we're living inside of it, within it. Some that go through our bodies, others that don't. Some that we're perceiving, others that we don't perceive. Some animals do, other animals don't. Right? Hello, Luciana. Yay. You're back. Welcome back. Finally, he says, in this glorious domain of energy, we have our mental radiations, conditioning the elements through which life is expressed. So stop now again. Stop. He says, we have our mental radiation. Okay, so can you visualize therapeutic moment for us, a therapeutic quiz? Visualize yourself with these mental radiations. Try to draw in your mind or picture how you and the mental radiations. Feel it. Let us feel it. It's very important. Let's close our eyes and feel it. The mental radiations, emissions of electromagnetic forces constantly, because we have continuous thought. We never stop. And he says more. Could you feel it? You visualize you in your constant mental radiations. Now, our mental radiations conditioning the elements through which life is expressed. So we have these mental radiations that are going to make associations. Hello, Antônio Henrique. Welcome here. So, thought is a creative force, he says. Through thought, we co-create. In the Law of Freedom, in the third part of the Spirit book by Allan Kardec, we've come to know something quite important. Okay? When Kardec asks, is there any moment in which we're free, like absolutely free? And they say, in our thought, we're free. In our thoughts. That's why Emmanuel is telling us thought is a creative force. Because through thought, you can create. You have freedom to create. A creative force projected by the person who generates it. I think and I project. So next time you indulge into negative thoughts, don't say, but I'm just thinking it. But you're not thinking it. You are throwing mental darts. I am throwing mental darts. But I'm just saying it. No. But I am projecting these vital energies too. No, but I was just contemplating with my mind. But you're radiating. You're going to make associations. It's like vectors. We don't want to complicate too much here. But think about this. Remember in physics when you study vectors of forces? So here we have a vector of positive things and a vector of negative things. And then our vibratory tone is going to be a resultant of it. Physics. So thinking positively a little bit is not enough. We need to transform everything to the same direction, the same vibratory tone, to make the resultant of our vibratory tone to the same direction. I remember Jussara giving a talk last November 18th in Long Island. And it was a prevention of suicide event by the Long Island Spiritist Doctrinal Studies group. And she was mentioning, we now, as we became Spiritists, we just started doing these works. And sometimes we're frustrated that our lives don't change very much. And she says, we just started doing good, and it's been 5 minutes and we already want the payment for it, the rewards of it. And why is it? Because think about the many thoughts we have radiated through the many lives we've lived. Where do you think those thoughts were? They're registered in our spiritual body. Everything, says Leon Denis in the book After Death, everything we do, we feel, we say, and we think is recorded in our spiritual body. And if it's recorded in our spiritual body, how can we expect that, as Jussara said, right, Jussara, that If I start thinking positively now, my life is going to change completely. I need to insist and persist and make that positive thinking a new pattern in my life. And so strong, so intense, that it can counterbalance the millennia of old conditionings inside of us. No wonder Paul of Tarsus said, I aim at the developing the blossoming of the new man, but the old man is still stronger. That's us. We need to know that this is the nature of things. We can't fight against nature. But what have we learned here? That if we intensify the good, if we intensify the thoughts of positive thinking, positive feeling, positive words, positive actions, the more we do it. The more we do it, Jesus said, love can erase a multitude of sins, of ignorance, of wrongdoings. Love. But love needs to be in the air, right? To breathe it. Love is in the air. I knew it was coming. Just to make it a little lighter. Don't be discouraged. On the contrary, now we're learning one law. It's like gravity. Don't challenge it because we're going to fall. If we want to live well, we better intensify the good in our lives. And if people ask you, boy, why are you smiling? And why are you always doing this, that, and the other? Because it's a law of life. I have only two choices, the good and the not good. I prefer the good. And to do good is the only way. So I better do it all the time, and I will be better, and everybody too. That's it. That's it, right? Yes. Yes, Melissa is saying thoughts are more powerful than we can imagine. Hello, Rosemary. Now breathe in and out. Let's digest a little bit. It's a lot of information. Easy, because this is, it's like a workout. Zumba. It's like Zumba in Spiritism. Right? But as Rihanna is reminding us, it's like a prayer every time, helping us create new thoughts. Thank you, Rosemary, for joining us. We're stronger together, literally. Right? Yes. So, in this last part of this beautiful chapter, he's talking about education, and we haven't heard it yet. He's talking about light, your light. Light is everywhere. Jesus as the guiding light. The fact that our thought also radiates. And he says, we radiate, and he says, a creative force projected by the person who generated by means of subtle waves. We connect subtle waves. So visualize yourself singing and waves in secrets of action and reaction. So next time you indulge in melancholic feelings and thoughts, sad thoughts, and say, I just want to put some music. Some people have this habit. Put some music like, I need to be by myself, just be nostalgic. You're not by yourself. These are the news. The people who are with you there, I tell you, you better turn it off and run away. And run away, because I wouldn't be there. Good spirits are not going to be there with you, nostalgically reminding yourself of a good time in the past. The best time of our lives is now. It is now. It has to be. Because it's the only time we have to do anything. The future hasn't come. The past is gone. We only have today. Literally. Right now. you and I, right now, right? Creation. Felipe is reminding us, thought equals to creation. We are co-creating, and there's an action-reaction. This is as measurable as a photon. So he's saying, on receiving impulse through the luminous system it produces. Friends, your thought is measurable, so much so that when you go to the book Liberation, André Luiz talks about this apparatus that is used by some spirits in the spiritual realm, and they can measure your vibratory tone. So we cannot disguise it, mask it. We always need to think, if I'm gonna do this, this is why my vibratory tone is dictated by my deepest intention. Why am I doing this? Why am I thinking this? Why am I saying this? Why am I feeling this? Is it for something that is gonna help me immortally with my millennial goals? Or is it something that is only helping me now? You know how often we're going to answer this question and say, yeah, this is only for the temporary. You have to change the course. Because if you don't, you're going to regret. I'm going to regret it too. So he says, this travels through space at a predetermined speed, sustaining the glowing breath of creation. He even talks about how it stays and has a speed. And that speed depends on what? It depends on the intensity of that thought. The intensity of that thought that was radiated. And it travels. The frequency, intensity, and frequency. There are three elements to be observed: quality, intensity, and frequency. In a way, we learn about these elements in the book Genesis by Kardec, when he talks about photography of the thought and the fluids. But in also books by Gabriel Delanne and Leon Denis, we learn about these three elements: quality, intensity, and frequency. If you think about something constantly, if we think about it with some amount of intensity, pairing up with feelings, and then we have the quality dictating whether it's good or bad. Unfortunately, there's no in between, like gray area, like, yeah, this is a little bit good. No. It's either good or bad. Look at our guidance model. There was nothing shady there. It was clear-cut good. Good is good, bad is bad. Okay? Quality, intensity, and frequency. So we need to think about this. Because as Kardec says and Gabriel Delanne, one in the Genesis, in another one in a book that is not yet written in English, they talk about these elements, saying that these elements are gonna make us manifest those thoughts in our perispirit. And they even use the word, they're gonna condense, they're gonna saturate the perispiritual molecules, and thus they're gonna manifest in our physical lives. So when something shows up, we cannot look around and say, who created it? I need to look myself in the mirror and say, I did it. How come? Was I drunk? Was I blind? Was I sleeping? Probably we were. It's very likely. Right, Tanya. Bad can only hurt and create illnesses. Good is always good. It feels good. Right? So, here it is. He's bringing us closer and closer to where we need to be. And he says, as again we say, the human mind is a mirror of light. which projects and assimilates race. Now, the critical part of the chapter that he's going to give us to show to us the importance of education. These moments we're experiencing together are priceless because they are investments in our immortality. This time that we spend studying these books will never waste because they are acquisitions to immortality. We're investing on something that is immortal, more than millennial. It's like immortal. And he says, the human mind is a mirror of light. And Jesus said, let your light shine. Mirror of light. Shine through your mind. You project and you assimilate. So now visualize yourself feeling it, okay? As we're feeling these beautiful hearts that are flowing, Adilson and friends helping us, let us visualize just like that. Projecting, as we're projecting thoughts just like these icons. The emoticons, we're sending them out and we are receiving from others. Thank you, thank you. Look, somebody clicks the hearts and you go there and you start participating. More hearts, or something else. And then it's like a zillion of hearts. Thank you, friends, Melissa and Adilson, for helping us. And Tanya. But this is exactly the symbol of the mental currents. You start thinking, and then people jump in. That's exactly how it is. You see, and doesn't stop. You thought, no, but it's just one heart, and when you see it's a zillion of hearts. No, but I was just giving love, and then the love is immense. This is a clear illustration of what it is to think, create, and make associations and start, as he said, assimilating it. You emit, you connect, you start receiving. See? And now it's like laughter, joy, and it's just because of one heart, now it's like a zillion of hearts. Good. I think we felt it, right? That's the reason why. When we go, for example, people say, oh, but you know. Oh, Melissa, you're funny, man. That's great, friends. Billions of hearts, right, Rita Di Cassia? But that's a beautiful illustration of how our lives happen to be. We create, we co-create thoughts, and we associate, make connections, other people jump in and shh. And now, if I say stop, but you don't feel like it, it's still like, depending on the intensity and the frequency, we're gonna assimilate more and more and more and more. Action, reaction. That's how it happens. That's why many people, they say, but you know, I don't understand. I just drank, I wanted to drink one glass of beer, and then at the end of the night, it's like 1,000,000 bottles. Because they were not alone. Not only physically, but spiritually. Yeah? It's easy to send love to everyone here. Yeah, the wheels on the bus, the wheels of the heart, right? The wheels of the heart go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels of the heart go round and round, round and round to God. And now we're gonna talk about education. Yes, education. Now he's gonna tell us what happens when we don't surrender to educate ourselves. He's saying, this mirror is more or less a prisoner of the thick shadows of ignorance. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, shining out. We're gonna sing at the end, let your light shine. That's a sure thing, to feel it. But now he's gonna give us one rule probably people don't know, friends. And now we're learning too. He's saying, if our minds are a mirror of light projecting and assimilating rays, we're also more or less of a prisoner of our own ignorance. Yeah, so he makes an analogy like a stone that is excavated and it's containing all of these elements from underneath. We need to what? Take it out, perfect it. So take the layers of darkness out. Then he says, that's the reason we need education for everyone. His love is so immense for humanity, he says, education for everyone. Everyone, everyone. So if you want to give a gift to somebody, education. 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 Let us also remember the words of the eternal benefactor when he said, let your light shine, meaning that the potential of light in our spirit should shine to its fullness. He doesn't say a little bit. Jesus didn't say, let your light shine just a little bit. Let your light shine. No conditions, no limits, to the fullest. How much do you know of yourself and your potential? How much? We need to surprise ourselves with our capabilities. We need to surprise ourselves with our capabilities. Every day, the best way is to wake up and say, I'm going to surprise myself with new limits that I didn't know I have. And then somebody comes your way and says, do you mind cooking for me today? And you're going to say, oh, but I don't know how to cook. No, let your light shine. Go and cook. But I don't know. Well, there is internet. You know, I learned to make Brazilian cheese bread, not in Brazil, in the United States by watching YouTube videos. Truly, nowadays you can do anything. Just Google it, right? Google it and you learn it. And it's, now I'm a master of it. I'm receiving orders now. But it's true. If somebody invites you to do something, go for it. And surprise yourself with new abilities you didn't know you have. Don't stay in the comfort zone. That's going to delay your progress. That's the rule number 1 of education. Open ourselves to learn. So in this day, we're leaving January 8th, enter January 9th. On this January 9th, let us practice new things we've never done, naturally, just by observing what's happening around. And the invitations we receive from the connections with others. If you're feeling uncomfortable, it's a sign you're experiencing something that is out of your comfort zone. So instead of repulsing it, do not resist and say, what do I need to learn now? If you're not feeling comfortable, stop, breathe in and out and ask, I am out of my comfort zone. It's not bad. It's actually good. What can I learn here? Oh, but these people, they are so different from me. They're children of God, by the way. And it's good that they are different because they can teach us something we've never come to know. So what do? Do not resist. That's why Jesus said, do not resist evil. Wait. Open. The divine is in everything and everyone. What can I learn here? What can I learn? How can I progress in this very moment? Learn something new. That's education. It's not about going back to school simply. Oh, there you go, Melissa. Hidden talents, right? Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. There you go. And here we have. Such a state can only be reached through the kind of education that will offer the required improvement. And now he goes back to the Spiritist in this last paragraph, the Spiritist definition of education. Education that refines the intellect and improves our inner world in knowledge and goodness, wisdom and virtue. We need new schools on the earth. Schools of regeneration, schools of virtues. As we were talking to a friend today, we need to bring back God to our lives and not to be afraid, because God as a word in the United States has become almost like a bad word. People say the F word very easily, but when you say God, they are like shocked. Right? We're twisted. We need to be courageous and bring it back from the feelings to the words, thoughts and actions. And we need better schools. But now, being coherent with what he said in chapter 2, he's going to say we can only do this with the consent of the will. It must have the conscious consent of the will. So if your child doesn't like studying, you say, you are a millennial soul. Why do you think you reincarnated? Professor Euripides Barçanufo said, look at the child in the eyes, immortal soul, but we should do this with every person. Looking at the person, immortal soul to immortal soul, forget about the appearance. It's about the heart to heart. Let us look at the person and the child and say, look, is it worthwhile being this life, as challenging as it is, to do nothing and regret that we didn't do anything? How about opening your heart to the new, learning always something new, challenging yourself, challenge yourself to something new. We're here to learn and to progress. Encouraging their will. When we are studying the book Good News, Jesus was teaching us to be encouraging. Now we need to ask ourselves, where are we regarding our skills of encouraging people? Boost their will and say, you can do it. If they say, no, I can't, yes, you can. You can do it. I trust you because you're a beautiful soul. And you affirm it to them to the point that I tell you, I was surprised one day. I said so much to Virginia that I said, you know, I was like enchanted with her, looking at her face, and I said, Virginia, you know, why are you so beautiful? I said, but I didn't ask her so she would answer. I just expressed myself. Believe it or not, she replied, because I'm a child of God. And I was surprised in a way, but I said, you see how powerful it is? We affirm it to the child so much, they believe it. Use affirmations, but not only to our children, to our partners, to ourselves. Affirmations. I am a child of God. I love and approve of myself. You are a child of God. You love and approve of yourself. We are children of God. We love and approve of ourselves in our potential to blossom and to let our light shine with the power of our will. When the will dedicates itself freely and spontaneously to goodness, without any constraints, it can liberate and refine the heart, imprinting on it a crystal clear image of the soul. The soul is then able to reflect the glorious life, subsequently transforming the mind into a precious powerhouse of superior energy, projecting reflexes of beauty and sublimation. Once again in this book, surprisingly, Emmanuel is bringing to us beauty as the byproduct of our harmony, our synchronicity with God. He's telling us that when we allow ourselves to be educated, we are going to reflect the life, the glorious life of God and the light of God. And our guiding light, our modeling light is Jesus. And He's telling us what as we wrap up this chapter? We're going to wrap up by singing, so we never forget that to educate ourselves is, that's what Emmanuel is saying, to educate ourselves is literally to let our light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And I can hear you. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Dear friends, let us be grateful to the good spirits for these precious educational moments. And as we raise in our potential, let us dedicate this beautiful day, January 9th, 2017, to exercising this educational step, opening to the new, opening to the renewal of ourselves, the mind and the hearts, projecting beautiful thoughts so we can assimilate them and one day be in true synchronicity with God, being co-creators at major levels. Thank you, dear friends. May God bless us all. And until tomorrow, when we're going to study another beautiful, important component of life, faith. Much gratitude.